What's your net worth? How does it compare to your peers, people your age? Are you on the right track or not? I've got that and more coming up. My name's Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. You got to be careful playing the compare game financially. You can grow up in the same household with your sibling and know all about their, what their job is and all that sort of stuff, and have very different financial circumstances, very different. The smallest bit of choices can compound over time. And so you got to be careful when comparing your finances to someone else's. I get it. It's tempting. It's tempting. You want to know, are you on pace? Are you building enough wealth? How do you stack up? Are you doing the right things? And finances are all secret. They're private. So you can't really tell. However, comparing yourself financially to others, it's imperfect because you'll never really know how someone, the details, the meaningful, material details of someone's financial life. You know yours, and you might get a sense of someone else's, but it's not accurate. It's not accurate. It will steal your joy because you'll just obsess about, envy and greed. You'll be obsessing about someone else's situation, and that will lead you to appreciate your own blessings less and likely cause you to make financial decisions trying to chase something else, and it will cause you to make mistakes and not get you where you're trying to go. Instead of the compare game, I would have you compare yourself as sort of Jordan Peterson-esque to two different people. One, who you were financially yesterday. Are you making progress? And that's why the net worth is so important. We're going to get to that in just a second. Are you making financial progress? So compare yourself to who you were yesterday. On a daily basis, doesn't really, change that much. So on a yearly basis, we do this for our clients, looking at their overall net worth today compared to a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and all throughout our history of serving them to see, are you making progress financially? And then the second comparison game that I would actually encourage is compare yourself today financially to where you're wanting to be, who you're wanting to be financially out there in the future. Are you on track for your goals, whether that's to be debt-free or to, help kids with college or to retire someday or work part-time or whatever it is? Compare yourself today to that person that you're trying to become financially to determine, again, if you're on track. So that, I'd argue, is the most important content in the video, and yet still financially, just all the time, you're going to see compare gains. This is how much you should have saved up by retirement by certain ages. This is how much the average net worth is, and so on. And so you're going to have these comparison games. I would take them with a grain of salt, and I would go back to that that little mantra that I just shared. But recently saw this average net worth by age. And again, it sparks, curiosity. You want to see, are you on track or not? And just in case this gives you some insight, let's dive in. Taking a look here, obviously, in your late teens and 20s, there's not a lot of net worth that's building and growing. In your 30s, you start to see that expand a little bit, but it's in your 40s and 50s where it really expands into six figures. And yet still, 60, 65, overall net worth, still just about $250,000 on average. Now, what is your net worth? Why is this important? So your net worth is a calculation where you add up all of your assets, so everything that you own, and I'm not talking TVs and beds and jeans and tennis shoes, although some of those tennis shoes are pretty valuable these days if you're collecting them or whatever. You add up all of your assets, and that's your total assets. Then you subtract out your liabilities. So what you owe on your mortgage, what you owe on student loans, what you owe on the credit card, what you owe on the car, all that sort of stuff. You subtract out those debts, those liabilities, and that gets you to your actual net worth. That's where the net comes from, and worth is assets minus liabilities, so wealth that you have. Now, doing that calculation, is the purpose to give you some pride, some reason to boast? Absolutely not. Again, it's just to see, are you on track of building assets and paying down liabilities? Are you on track? Are you making progress from where you were and towards where you want to be? Most of us want to save up, have a strong emergency fund, build up our retirement savings so someday we can kiss that paycheck goodbye, have a nice house in a nice neighborhood or whatever, have a house, and we want to pay down debt. We want to get rid of credit card debt. We want to get rid of that car loan. We want to get rid of our student loans. We want to eventually pay that mortgage off so we're unencumbered. Each of those things helps your net worth grow. And certainly in your 20s and 30s, when you're just getting your life started, there's likely not a lot of net worth, especially right now with student loans. There's a lot of people that maybe are building wealth and adding savings and all of that sort of stuff, but their student loans, especially over the past 3 years, haven't been paying on them. Balance has just been sitting there. Those student loans are subtracted from the amount of assets that you have built up. So there's not as much saved up there. But over time, every day or every week or every month or every paycheck, saving a little bit and paying down debt and not growing your debt, that helps you make positive improvements towards your net worth. So where do you stack up on this list? Are you above average, below average? If you're below average, I would encourage you, work with your certified financial. I would tell you again, this doesn't matter. So don't have this, cause concern or make you worry or make you feel bad. It's your own specific financial situation. No one has the same exact circumstances as you. But the point is, from this point moving forward, let's make sure you're making wise financial decisions and doing everything that you can to add the right inputs towards this net worth calculation. If you say, yep, well, I'm going to get, really aggressive and start saving a lot towards my 401k, but you're still spending a lot, that means that you'll eventually need credit cards and have more on credit cards, and that's going to be net neutral to your net worth, right? You'll be saving more in assets, but your credit card balance will be growing as well. It'll be net neutral. So that's where I would say work with a certified financial planner to make sure that you're making slow and steady progress through the right behaviors, the right habits to build your net worth over time. If you're above average then make sure that you're contributing, that you're saving into the right asset categories. When we do this calculation for our clients, we don't just add up and stockpile all of their assets just together. No, we look at them by category, because by category, each category is going to have a different purpose and a different growth trajectory, right? So the amount that you have in cash and in the bank, you're not going to, that area is not going to work very hard for you for the future. It's not an area that you should accumulate lots and lots and lots of wealth, but it's there to keep you from going poor in an event of emergency and to make sure that you got smooth functioning of your cash flow. So your cash assets, they have a different purpose than your house asset, that real asset, or other real property like vehicles. Those are actually going to decline in value over time, believe it or not, right? The last couple of years has bucked that normal trend. But if you put a lot of your assets into vehicles, things that will depreciate in value over time, that's not going to help you grow your net worth. So usually you're going to want to have as much money as possible going towards assets that will appreciate over time, namely your retirement accounts and how you structure those investments. Couple that with, again, if you're above average or whatever compared to this list, what's the right trajectory to paying down debt? Right? Is there a debt snowball that you should work to clean up some consumer debt or your student loans whenever that gets turned back on again or something like that? Should you be building up cash actually so that whenever there is some determination on whether there's student loan cancellation or not, or whatever that plan is going to be, if there is remaining student loan balance that you've got to pay, you've already got the cash set aside to pay it off. That would be net neutral to your net worth as well, but it would make for a healthier balance sheet or net worth statement. How quickly do you want to get your mortgage paid off? What's your amortization schedule? That sort of thing, even if you're paying extra. So guys, work on those inputs with your certified financial planner. This work of laying out and looking at your overall net worth structured in those categories, and then discussion about where to apply income that you earn to help that net worth grow over time so that you can be on track to be building wealth when you compare yourself to where you were in the past, and building towards financially who you want to become in the future. Lastly, that I would tell you, especially coming off of last year, you have a lot of influence over your net worth, but you don't have complete control. And here's what I mean. You can influence how much you're saving up in the bank or how much you're paying down on debt, but you don't have perfect control because your investments, yes, you can choose how risky your investments are or whatever, but the future is always uncertain. So there are seasons, and we've just gone through one and are going through one right now where you're doing all the right things for your net worth to build wealth, but when you actually look at it, your net worth maybe went down temporarily instead of going up, even though you did the right things. This is why it's important to be working with your certified financial planner, have a long-term perspective as you're looking at your net worth so that you know whether you're on track or not. Work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K. WiseMoneyShow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.